Hey, Wembley World Entertainment, and is James Gunn and Peter Safran and the DCU safe under Netflix? Well, apparently, yes. Now, we knew they were never going to re-establish the Snyderverse. That is something that's never going to happen. Even though everybody's been pushing, oh it is, they're re-upping it, look at how many images he's putting out, fueling the speculation. All the photos were being put out over anniversaries of when films came out, when actors signed on and all this type of stuff. But right now, what has to be clear is Netflix has no power with Warner Brothers as of right now, which we'll get to. But why is Peter Safran and James Gunn, more importantly, and the DCU safe right now? Because their contracts have been renewed. Now, we knew the contracts were to run out at some stage next year in 2026. They've been re-upped till 2027. However, and there is a big however, it makes sense, but we will get to it. But let's dive in to this article that actually talks about this and shows where this is coming from. And then we'll break it down because it makes sense. And I think a lot of people are kind of looking in the wrong direction with this. So the big question on comic book fans' minds regarding Warner Brothers Discovery sale is, what will happen to DC Studios? There's been a lot of speculation about the future of the company led by James Gunn and Peter Safran, and shortly after Warner Brothers began fielding offers from Paramount and officially put itself up for sale, Gunn seemed to address a potential exit from the company. Now, that's in the video we did a while ago where he was discussing on a podcast about the plans for the future of DC, and he addressed saying, if I'm the one to see out those plans. So that's what they're talking about when it comes to that end of things. So now both the Superman director and Safran have addressed the company's sale process, providing a clearer picture for where they stand in terms of the ongoing transaction. Bloomberg did a profile on the DC Studios chiefs and their work building out the DCU. The piece revealed that Gunn and Safran's contracts are up in spring of 2027. When they were initially announced as DC Studios co-CEOs in 2022, The Hollywood Reporter stated their contracts were for 4 years, which meant they ended in or around October 2026. This appears to confirm their contracts were extended a few months, which again, that completely makes sense, and we'll get to that. So such an extension isn't surprising, given how Warner Bros. Discovery CEO David Zaslav has nothing but praise to give to Gunn and Safran while talking to Bloomberg. The CEO said, "The work of James and Peter, their creative vision, it's compelling and a great economic return. There's no storytelling content that we have that provides a bigger palette than DC, and there's nobody around right now who can tell these stories with the same imagination and excitement." Now that's just all fluff from Zaslav. He's not going to turn around and go, yeah, they're fucking horrendous and have cost us money already. He's not going to do that. He's going to praise them to try and make DC look more lucrative to up the price for the sale. However, what we start hearing here, especially from Safran, is hilarious. But it comes around saying, now, would Warner Bros. Discovery sell to Netflix impact the exec's tenure at the studio? Per Bloomberg, neither of them is letting larger corporate ongoings alter their plans. Instead, they're focused on delivering the best scripts possible. In mergers and acquisitions, jobs tend to shift or end outright, yet the duo doesn't seem worried about the future. Here's the funny part. According to Peter Safran, James Gunn's creative mind gives them job security. So wait till you hear his statement, because he seems to think they're bulletproof. "What makes us irreplaceable is truly the mind of James Gunn. He's been the architect of this grand vision. So he thinks because James Gunn is coming up with ideas that they are irreplaceable. The Superman director then offered a shorter version of the statement shared by Safran, stating, "If you're gonna make a Batman movie, it better be effing awesome. You can't even finish or even get started a proper Batman script, James Gunn, so you're talking out your ass there." Now, why does all of this make sense, and how does it not come from the Netflix end of things? It makes sense because they already have films from James Gunn in place, i.e. Man of Tomorrow, which is slated to come out in 2027. And every single one of us has been saying that will be the movie that determines his future. It won't be Supergirl, because Supergirl is going to do what it does and it's probably going to bomb. It's not going to be Clayface. It's going to be a big, massive tentpole movie featuring Superman, which will be Man of Tomorrow. If that bombs, then they are done. 100% they will be done if that bombs. Especially if it bombs on the heels of the likes of Supergirl and Clayface bombing. Now remember as well, Gunn is the person who said we don't do reshoots or rewrites or anything like that. We get finished scripts and we shoot. Supergirl had reshoots. Superman has had reshoots. And now Lantern's TV series has been delayed. Why? You guessed it. Reshoots. So he's full of crap there. Now why does Netflix not have any say in this right now? Because Netflix don't own Warner Brothers. Yes, the sale has been agreed. That's all. What that means is they've accepted their bid, not their actual control. I'll explain that. Now, I don't know whether you guys in the US and Canada do this, or even in the UK. But here in Ireland, when a house goes up for sale, a house, okay, you put your for sale sign up. Someone puts in an offer that you accept. Maybe it's more than you were expecting. Maybe it's just above your asking price, but you accept that deal. What happens with the for sale sign is it changes to sale agreed. That means you are still open to accepting other bids. In Netflix's case, it's they have to go through all the regulatory crap, all the legal jargon. So it'll be months, maybe even a couple of years, should that deal actually go through. So as of now, Netflix has absolutely no say in what happens at Warner Brothers. They've nothing. They can put input in and say we wouldn't mind seeing this and that, but realistically they have no power. So they cannot be the ones to turn around and say renew their contract. It doesn't work like that. So what we're looking at is Warner Brothers themselves have re-upped the contract of James Gunn and Peter Safran. That makes sense because it coincides then with obviously the release or in and around the release of Man of Tomorrow, which is where their future hinges on. Because should that movie fail, then they are screwed. They will be gone. And Peter Safran doesn't seem to do anything anyway, so it's all Gunn. But just to be clear, once again, Netflix hasn't made this decision. This is Warner Brothers. It makes sense because the movie for Man of Tomorrow, which starts production early next year, will be dropping in 2027. It has the release date, so it makes sense for all of this. But what do you guys think? Are you surprised the contract's been re-upped for a shorter time anyway? You notice it hasn't been re-upped for like 2 years or an extended year or anything. It's just been a few months. Do you think it does just coincide with the release for Man of Tomorrow? Let me know. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like, share, subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.